The New England Patriots have completely shaken up their organization in a very big way. Mike Vrabel is now the head coach. We have coordinators. And I know you and I co-sign 100% on Josh McDaniels coming back. I know he can nurture and groom a quarterback. The new defensive coordinator is Terrell Williams. But, Jay, to me, it's really about the staff that Vrabel is putting together. And in going through this process and watching it last year with Gerard Mayo, where he was bumbling, stumbling around, and 11 people said no to being the OC before Alex Van Pelt walked through the door. What a difference to have a vested adult NFL veteran head coach who knows people outside of the circle, not connected to Merrill Lynch or whatever.
Oh, absolutely. And none of this is Gerard Mayo's fault. I genuinely feel for the guy. But Mike Vrabel is the godfather, and it's the mafia.
Whoa. Oh, it is Gerard Mayo's fault, the staff that he hired. Mike Vrabel is attracting the people that, A, he wants, but also, B, he has depth of knowledge in these people. Look at all the people where it's coming in from, bro.
But you cut me off because of what I said about Mayo. Let me say what I'm going to say about Vrabel. My point is I'm not putting it on Mayo being coddled in the Patriots organization for not having a team underneath him, right? Vrabel never stuck around with Belichick or wanting to be part of that coaching tree because he's his own man. And when I call him the godfather and I talk about the mafia, right? Doug Marrone coming in to coach the offensive line. The guy, Thomas Brown from Chicago coming in. This whole staff. You think Belichick wouldn't like hanging around with all these football guys? Doug Marrone, two-time head football coach in this league coming in to coach the offensive line. That is going to be a scary place for the players. Good luck, Mike Vrabel. I am so fired up at what's happening in New England. Drake May is going to be so set up for success. I think they're going to take a big jump.
I did preemptively jump you because Gerard Mayo had zero ability to attract any of these people. And in fact, what he did on defense was just say, hey, all my buddies, now I'm going to elevate you guys. Whereas with Mike Vrabel, there's a little bit of the old sort of thread with guys like McDaniels, and Brian Belichick might end up hanging around. But there's also so much new blood in the building. And when you look at Thomas Brown, now, Jay, they haven't announced it yet, but apparently Thomas Brown is going to be the tight ends coach, and I guess they're going to put the label on him as passing game coordinator. Now, I feel like that's one of those things to kind of, okay, we're kind of making you a half-ass coordinator to sort of draw you here. But Thomas Brown's only, 36, 37 years old. He gets to sit under Josh McDaniels a little bit and learn. And here, Jay, is what I love about what Vrabel has done. If they get plucked, meaning if McDaniels gets, as crazy as it sounds, another crack at a head coaching gig. Now he's got the guy on staff that they're grooming. I don't know anything about this guy, Tyrell Williams, but I know this. They went and got a guy from Florida A&M who was a college coordinator to come in and be the linebackers coach. I find that relevant because, again, same thing. If they ride high and in 3 years the Patriots are the bee's knees once again, let's say, and they start to pluck these people, Vrabel has layered his staff because he can attract the right kind of people. And I'm with you. The level of excitement I have begins with the staff, because gone are the country club bullshit of all of them. And I know I said I wasn't going to swear today, but when I went to camp and saw people walking around, and then you hear players saying they're making it up, oh, no. Those days are done now. You're going to walk in the building, and there will be a clear direction led by a real adult who's not in his own feelings.
Yeah, and I haven't cursed today, even though you're firing me up thinking I want to talk about Gerard Mayo. But I do know about Terrell Williams. He was with Vrabel in Tennessee for 5 years, coached the defensive line with Detroit last year, has a great relationship with Aiden Hutchinson. I just think the staff, I don't want to start talking superlatives, but this staff my mind is effectively blown at the depth of this staff. And you can be sure they're paying these guys money, making it worth their while. But a lot of these guys were in good situations coming over. And forgive me, I don't know the name. Cody will drop it in the chat, but even that guy managed the clock that I think they got from the Rams, right? I mean, I can't get enough of this. And I think that the roster, it's going to be very fascinating to see what they do with this roster, because everything other than the roster is starting to really take shape, but that roster is still dreadful.
Well, the roster has only one place to go but up. And think of this. If I said to you, it's Alex Van Pelt with these wide receivers, right? And I look at the wide receiver group, and if Kendrick Bourne is going to come back, and you got Jalen Polk there who's a holdover, and Javon Baker, you go out and get the right kind of veteran. I know there's some delusions of grandeur about A.J. Brown and stuff like that, and maybe they do go get a real true number one wide receiver, but automatically I have to think that things are going to be better with some of the existing talent that they have because of the coordinator that is there. I mean, you still have Hunter Henry at tight end. You don't have a lot, but you have some pieces to at least start with to figure out how to build around from there. And I expect Kendrick Bourne to have a big resurgence once again. Coming off knee injury, was dinged up. We know the emotion is that he's played for Josh McDaniels. So he's a guy who's going to know how to reintegrate.
And he's also the leader in the locker room, in a locker room that I think lacks leadership. I think he's developed into a little bit of a leadership. I like some of Bourne's quotes in the past about wanting to be part of I think he was saying, of not being bad anymore. He wanted to be part of the turnaround. And I do believe there'll be a turnaround. Let me ask you quickly off the top about T. Higgins. Mm-hmm. Do you see the Bengals keeping him and Jamar Chase, or do you see T. Higgins somewhere else next year, regardless if that's Patriots or not?
Yeah, I think if I'm Cincinnati, I probably franchise T. Higgins for a year, try to keep him for one more, and sort of repurpose the position. They probably need to draft somebody. And if you want to keep Joe Burrow happy, that might be the easiest way to do so in the short term, is to at least give him one more year with T. Higgins while you get somebody else ready. Yeah. At least that's the way I would handle it. And are you among the Patriot fans where you're horny for T. Higgins to come to New England, or is it just, I don't care the name, just go get me somebody that profiles as a number one?
Well, I'm glad you asked the question, and I don't really know, which is why I asked you about T. Higgins. But what I will say is, when you trade away a selection and that selection becomes Ladd McConkey in last year's draft for the Los Angeles Chargers, who does seem to fit, could fit nicely in New England. I'm really more concerned with their ability to find wide receiver talent in the draft. There's a lot of depth at certain positions. I think there's some depth on the lines in this draft. So their ability to draft a receiver, I would say, in addition to whoever comes in free agency, go get a guy that can really help you in the draft. Is that so hard to ask?
No, it isn't. And I'll say this, that I have a sneaking suspicion that Jonathan Kraft wants him a big wide receiver. And I'll leave it at that. Because if he is really pushing that, then you bet your bippy that somebody is going to find a way to go get one to make JK happy. Maybe it could be at the top of the draft, Jay, because the Patriots are sitting there at number 4. But what in the bloody blue hell is going on right now with the odds around this draft?